This boy finds a flower pot in the sea. When he came home and started cleaning the flower pot started shining. And then a beautiful girl comes out of it. The girl wanted to fulfill 3 wishes of the boy. By the way, the boy's attention was less on the 3 wishes, and more on the girl's body. To see which 3 wishes the boy asks for, watch the entire video. The story begins with a boy named Chris, who was walking on the beach at this time. His pet Sammy was also with Chris. Chris used to live near the beach, so he used to come here to walk every day. By the way, Chris was a singer before, but nowadays he has stopped singing. After walking on the beach for a while, Chris sits at one place. He sits and eats food himself, and feeds Sammy too. After eating food, as soon as Chris started resting, he felt that someone was drowning in the sea. He quickly runs to the lifeguard's house, because he didn't know how to swim well. But neither was the lifeguard's house in good condition, nor was he at home. Now Chris picked up the broken window of the house, and started walking towards the sea himself. And then he quickly jumps into the sea. The lifeguard, Bevan, was walking nearby, and he saw Chris in the water. Chris does not see anyone in the sea. He had an illusion that someone was drowning, and for this reason, his life was in danger now. Gradually, he started drowning in the water. Inside the water, he finds a flower pot, and then Bevan also reaches him. Soon, Bevan took him out of the water, because of which Chris's life was saved today. By the way, these two were friends too, and they used to come and go to each other's houses. After a while, Chris comes home with the flower pot. He put the flower pot on the table and started working at home. He used to live alone at home. After working at home, he also rests a little. At night, Chris picks up his bike and comes to the nearby bar. He used to drink every day, and he used to come to this bar to drink. Today, as soon as Chris started drinking, a man named Hyman comes to him. Hyman was the owner of a music company, and Chris also knew him well. Hyman wanted Chris to start singing again, and sing for his company. But Chris clearly refused to sing. Hyman is also greedy for money, but Chris still doesn't agree. Actually, last month, Chris had a fight with his younger brother, Jimmy. Jimmy also wanted to sing. He wanted Chris to help him, but Chris refused to help him. Jimmy got angry and left his house, but he had an accident on the way, and he died. Just that day, Chris stopped singing. The day his brother died, Chris thought that he didn't help Jimmy, and that's why he had an accident. When he reached home, Chris first cleaned the flower pot, and then sat there to rest. While cleaning the flower pot, he scratched it, which caused a strong wind to blow around the house. As soon as he saw it, the flower pot started shining, and Chris got scared seeing this. Soon, a beautiful girl comes out of the flower pot. Chris was surprised to see everything. The girl comes out and says to him, that my name is Ruhi, and I am your slave. Chris didn't pay much attention to what she said, but he was more interested in her big watermelons. Recognizing her eyes, Ruhi put on Chris's shirt. As soon as she goes to him, he gets scared and moves back. Ruhi tells him, that I will fulfill all 3 of your wishes. Chris doesn't believe her. He says to himself jokingly, I want to see the rain right now. Hearing this, Ruhi does her magic, and, at that moment, the rain starts. Chris used to live here. It didn't rain there, so he was very surprised. The rain was so heavy, that even the roof of the house started raining. After fulfilling Chris's first wish, Ruhi was very happy. She wanted to fulfill his wishes as soon as possible, and be free. After a while, the rain stops. Now Ruhi asks Chris for his second wish. But Chris says, that I don't have any wish, so you can go now. Hearing this, Ruhi explains to him, that I can go only after fulfilling 3 wishes. Chris didn't have any wish, and Ruhi couldn't go right now. In the end, Ruhi decides, that she will stay with Chris, until his wishes are fulfilled. The next day, Chris was standing outside his house, while Ruhi was looking at his clothes, which could fit him. Soon, Chris also came inside. Ruhi asks him again, that why aren't you telling him your other 2 wishes? Chris tells him about his brother's death. At the same time, he also says, that with my brother's death, all my wishes also died. At night, Chris takes Ruhi to the same bar. He used to come here often. Both of them come here and drink. Even Bevan was drinking in the bar. Chris introduces Ruhi to Bevan, and then they go back. Both of them had drunk a lot today, because of which, as soon as they came home, they started drinking each other's water. The next day also, both of them roam around together. Both of them spend some time near a lake, and then they go to the beach. As night falls, both of them again start drinking each other's water. The next day, he comes to a girl named Hyman Liz. Liz also used to live here, and she was Chris's good friend. Hyman wanted to convince Chris to sing anyway. He came to Liz so that he could convince Chris. At night, Chris and Ruhi again drink water. After drinking water like every day, Ruhi goes to the flower bed, and Chris goes to sleep on his bed. The next day, as soon as Ruhi woke up, she started doing the housework. It had been many days since both of them lived together, 503, because of which, both of them started loving each other. Ruhi would cook food for Chris, and Chris would enjoy the food. One night, Ruhi says to Chris, that I love you very much. Ruhi had expressed her love, but Chris didn't say anything. Ruhi asks him, do you also love me? At this, Chris stands up first, and then says, I can't love a genie. Hearing Chris, Ruhi is very sad. She asks Chris for his other two wishes, so that after fulfilling them, he leaves her life. But Chris doesn't tell her any wish, because of which Ruhi gets very angry at him. After a while, Ruhi was ready to go out. She was going out with Chris's friend, Bevan. He had called Bevan, and soon she leaves with him. Soon, both of them come to the bar and start drinking. Chris was also drinking at home. The way Ruhi went with Bevan, he didn't like her at all. After Ruhi's departure, he realized that he can't live without Ruhi. Meanwhile, Liz comes to Chris, so that she can talk to him about Hyman. Chris was very drunk at this time. Liz makes coffee for him, so that his drunkenness reduces. While drinking coffee, Chris tells her everything about Ruhi. That she is a flower-eating genie. Along with this, he also tells Liz that he loves her a lot, and that he is going to her. After telling Liz everything, Chris left. But Liz's eyes were fixed on the flower. After a while, Chris reached Ruhi. He asks her to come home, but Ruhi doesn't listen to him. She says that you don't love me, so I can't listen to you. Ruhi was very angry at Chris. Chris wanted to explain to her and take her home, so that he can explain to her that he loves her. While Ruhi felt that Chris wanted to tell her his desires, she tells Chris to tell her his desires here, and then leave. Chris gets angry and says that my second desire is to get an ordinary girl. Ruhi says that you will get an ordinary girl soon. Now Chris tells her his third desire, that Ruhi should go there forever. She came from here. As soon as Chris heard his last desire, Ruhi got sick, and Chris somehow manages her. After a while, Chris brought her home. Ruhi got sick because she wanted to go back, but she didn't have her flower. Ruhi fulfilled all three of Chris' desires. Chris had a third desire, that Ruhi should go there. She came from here. To fulfill Chris' third desire, she needed a flower. Chris also soon finds out that Liz has the flower. He quickly goes to Liz's house, but he doesn't find Liz there. Liz was sitting by the sea right now, and he had the flower. He came in greed and took the flower, but he didn't know how to get out of it. The next day, Liz realizes her mistake, that she came in greed and cheated Chris. She returns the flower to Chris, after which Chris comes to the sea with Ruhi. Soon, Ruhi goes into the flower, and Chris throws the flower into the sea. The next morning, Chris was at the beach. After Ruhi left, he was so sad that he slept at the beach at night. As soon as he wakes up from his sleep, he sees a girl. The girl was walking on the beach, and she comes to Chris, and asks him about his health. This girl looked exactly like Ruhi, and Chris was shocked to see her. But Chris soon realizes that Ruhi fulfilled his second wish. Chris's second wish was to meet an ordinary girl, and now he had met her. In the whole story, we have been shown that those who are disappointed with life, their wishes also die. Chris was also disappointed with his life, so he also had no wish. With this story ends here. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you are crazy about such videos, then please subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.